fellow Star Wars fans, my name is Starrapter and welcome back to the channel. It is a Wednesday, so that means we get new Star Wars comics to talk about, one from IDW, one from Marvel. We're starting off, as always, with Marvel, and we have Bounty Hunters, issue number 10. So, in this very issue, we have Valance, who is sort of helping the rebellion. He's trying to fend off these attacking pirates from taking over the ship. He does end up retreating and coming back to the ship, and that's where we open up, where he is trying to take out these different kind of weak way pirates. These are the new Ohnaka gang. Yes, Hondo is not part of the gang at this point. It's post-Empire Strikes Back. But we have this Captain Scrag, who up until this point I thought was a male. Turns out it's a female. But we also have them with Dengar, and they are having this conversation with this leader aboard of this rebellion freighter who ends up being a traitor. He's willing to give Captain Scrag information on the whereabouts of the rebellion to this Captain Scrag, which will pay him off. And essentially that is what's going on in this issue. So this issue is a lot about Valance in the shadows, stealthily killing these different weak-way pirates. Like, there's really awesome moments where he's dunking them into some kind of barrels of magma-looking substances. There's another moment where he's basically using like a garrote of a string around somebody, a cable around somebody's neck, killing them that way. There is another part where he literally vents these two guys out in airlock. There's a lot of great action when it comes to stealth combat. It reminded me a lot of like Splinter Cell, that old Xbox game, him just going around. But then you also have this character that saves his life a few times, and her name is Private Sproul, and she is this engineer that is on Valance's side, and she's helping him out to try to get away with these weak ways. And then by the end of this issue, we have Valance that is able to find Dengar and takes Dengar with him, because Dengar tells him very interesting information that Valance did not know, and that is that Han Solo is actually in Carbonite and is being transported to Jabba the Hutt by Boba Fett. And we know how much Valance loves Boba Fett. He appeared earlier on in this Bounty Hunters comic series, so that's where the issue leaves off. But there's some other things that happen in between. So we do get a revisit of a scene around the characters of Tonga and Lasha. And remember, Tonga was one of the bounty hunters that we thought was killed by Boba Fett and miraculously survived somehow. She's on that planet with the Nexu. She wants revenge for Lasha's killer, and that would be Boba Fett, as we know. So she seeks to go off, even though she's not fully healed yet. She's like, I need to get revenge, and Lasha, her lover, is going with her. And of course, this old man that is helping them out with reviving her says, go ahead and take my Nexu with you. So that's awesome. Seeing a hunter with a Nexu is going to be really cool stuff. I liked seeing that short appearance of that Nexu earlier in the series. We also have a flashback that opens up this story here with Valance. There's a lot of flashbacks because, I mean, we haven't had Valance in Star Wars other than the comic medium, but there's always so much lore built around this guy. We have him in the Target Vader series, where he actually gets double-crossed by Dengar, and he mentions that in this issue. But he was also part of the Imperial Cadet miniseries involving Han Solo in the Imperial Academy, and he was another fellow cadet alongside of Han Solo. Well, we get to revisit that storyline where basically Han Solo sort of saves Valance. They're not the best of friends then, but Valance is indebted to Solo. And that does carry us through with what he is doing now, because it seems like his motives are he wants to save Solo. So we know we are going into the War of the Bounty Hunters storyline starting in May. So we got all these different factions that are vying for Han Solo. So now we have Valance. His intentions are to free him, I assume. But then you have Han Solo's actual group of friends with Luke and Chewie and Leia. Then you have the Empire that wants him for some reason back. And then, of course, Boba Fett is just trying to do his job to get money from Jabba the Hutt to bringing him there. So there's going to be lots of different factions, and we're already seeing the crossover starting to build up, especially in this Bounty Hunters issue. So very, very good issue. Plenty of action. Of course, the artwork continues to impress me issue after issue, and it was about a 2-month gap since we had the last one, so it's nice to have the Bounty Hunters comics back. Another one that we haven't seen in a long time is IDW's Star Wars Adventures, issue number 4. In particular, there are 2 issues here. The first one I'm going to be talking about is Life Day Part 2. So the continuation from issue number 3, we have Obi Wan, we have Qui-Gon, on Kashyyyk during Life Day, figuring out what's going on until they get ambushed by Trandoshans, and then it's up to Obi-Wan, where we see in this issue, to free Qui-Gon. So all in all, Qui-Gon is trapped in this cage. He's purposely doing it as sort of a lesson for Obi-Wan, and Obi-Wan learns from the Wookiee there, Brennan. Hey, you have to sometimes think of the unorthodox techniques to become successful. You can't be stagnant in your approach to life. Sometimes you need to have change. And well, he takes that advice to heart and does something that Qui-Gon would do, which is to deceive the captors of Trandoshans. So he approaches them to surrender himself, and he uses the Force to basically open up Qui-Gon's cage, throwing him his lightsaber and making quick work of those Trandoshans. Of course, there wasn't really any casualties. The Trandoshans knew they were basically outmatched by the Jedi and decided, hey, we just should probably run. And that's basically the story right there. Still, I liked seeing Qui-Gon. I like seeing Obi-Wan, that Master and Apprentice. We got that novel by Claudia Gray, which I loved. I want to see more of that, and I'm happy to see that in here, because so far these Star Wars adventure stories have really been hitting home in this restart of the series back that happened, I guess, last year. But another great story that we got in this was called Credits, and it is a solo story involving Beckett and everybody else from Solo, right? We got so many awesome characters here. And I don't know her name. Val. Yes, Val. How could I forget Val? She was just an awesome character that I think a lot of people think got misused. You also have Rio as well. But basically, the whole gist of this story is you have Beckett, you have Val, and Beckett starts off in jail purposely because he got this information about this score that he wants to get, and he has Val purposely free him, of course, and then that leads to their objective, which ends up being a person. They are trying to extract a person from all these pirate people or criminals or whatever they are, and they're running around, blasters going everywhere. It seems like it's a scene from Solo Star Wars story, and guess what? Their pickup driver, getaway driver, is Rio. And it turns out, yeah, that this whole reason why they got this guy was because he's a really good Valacord player. So we actually see a Valacord, which just looks like a harp, essentially. I don't know if we've seen that in Star Wars before, maybe at Jabba's palace, but that was the whole mission. Is this kind of like little love story where it's like Beck was like, hey, I just wanted to get this for you to have a great night. And you see them sitting by the campfire, Rio's cooking, and they're just listening to the Valacord. And all throughout this issue, there's inner dialogue from Val. And there's a couple points where it's tragic lines where it's like, oh, I don't know if I'll ever see this again. And we know her fate, obviously, in the future with Solo, a Star Wars story. So this is a really well done story that really shows me and brings to memory, like, oh, I really like that movie Solo. And I really enjoyed the characters that were in there. And just seeing that Beckett is that guy who's, you know, he's just trying to make money. He's just trying to make do. But he's also a good guy at heart for the most part. And you really get to see that shine in Star Wars Adventures issue number 4, and hopefully we get more stories revolving around the Solo crew before they meet Solo. I would really like to see how that turns out. So that's good for this week's comics. What did you guys think of these comics? Let me know in the comment section down below. I'm always talking about Star Wars, so if you'd like my input, make sure you go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. That is good for me, Starrapter. Thank you so much for watching, and may the Force be with you always.
Thanks for checking out the video. Please hit that thumbs up symbol. It helps me know that I'm making content that you guys enjoy. And if you enjoyed this video, I also include 2 videos down below you guys should check out. And please consider subscribing to this channel. It helps support me, and it notifies you guys of when I get new videos up on the channel. You can also contact me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Starrapter.